It's all about the test series. It is all about the test series. That's right. The Lions have once again provided as many questions as answers for the win against the Brumbies. And I've got Elko with me to get into the weeds. Elko, how you doing?
TT, I'm good. I'm good. Interesting this morning. I am very much happier than I have been throughout the tour, though. So I'll keep it positive.
Good man. I can see that you got a big smile on your face. So the first question I've got for you is how much do you care about the performances in these pre-test match games on tour?
Uh, well, it depends. Right now, I suppose you care a lot, but we all know that no one's going to remember any of these games in 4 years' time, in 8 years' time, in 12 years' time. We won't. We won't care. But I said to you last week, I was really had the heebie-jeebies about what's been going on and how we've been playing, and for me today, it's like, yeah, loads of stuff went wrong, but I can see what we're trying to do now, and it's so much easier to fix. It's easy to fix. You can actually, the fact we can see little things are wrong means a lot to me. Before I was like, what are they doing? And I'm absolutely sure that the tougher the tougher competition is going on in training. I've got no doubt about it. I reckon they're doing all sorts of stuff, maybe 15 minutes of 15v15 or pack v pack, and trying to get that test match intensity. But no, I don't really care. I mean, we not like to win and stuff like that, but I couldn't tell you about games on previous tours before the tests.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Now then, you've just tapped into something there that I was going to ask you about next, and that is peaking for the tests and training load. What kind of things do you think the guys are going to be doing in training? Because I do feel like they started the tour looking quite tired, fatigued, and they probably will still feel like that if the training is at the correct level for them to peak in the tests.
Yeah, great question. I don't know. I think just judging by the way Farrell was talking today in his post match around the travel time, the lack of rest that they're on all the time, it seems to be captain's run to captain's run, and it kind of goes to explain how they've been playing up to this point. I think they've been trying to get fit through the games and just, very, very little kicking, trying to keep the ball in play as much as possible, and trying to get match fatigue as much as possible. I think it's more. It's going to be more about rest. They're not going to get any gains, even with the 10-day gap between before the first test from Saturday. They're not going to get 7 days. They're not going to get any gains from that. So it's going to be more about managing rest, managing recovery. Presumably they're doing stuff in the morning to see where guys are, and they'll have a good idea. Yeah, I think actually it's going to be more about resting, especially with people like Maro, who's played more rugby than anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, then let's get into this game and let's start off with talking about attacking shape. And I thought there was a bit of a transition in this game. I thought they started a little bit wide, like they have done in previous games, but then at some point, roughly about 10 minutes in, I felt like it happened. They suddenly tightened things up a bit and they took a lot more direct route, either with forwards off of 9 or Aki and Ringrose hitting really good lines through the middle. What changes did you see in the attacking shape, and do you think that's a good thing?
Oh, yeah, not night and day. Night and day. We were direct. It was obvious. We were direct. Even Gibson Park was direct. Every time anyone got the ball, they ran hard, and then later that gave way to offloads. Some guys were doing a bit too much of that. I'm sure we'll get into some of the guys who may have played themselves out of it. But in general, all the guys that you expected to step up and do. I mean, Tyke Fergalong was unbelievable today. The amount of handoffs he did and just going for it, it was just so great to see that finally it felt like they'd been unleashed to go, actually, this is what we do. So Aki was unbelievable. So for me, it was a whole mindset change. It didn't matter where it was coming off, whether it was coming off 9, which we did a lot more of today, you can see, because if you watch defenses, they're following Russell everywhere. So he just looks up and goes the other way. But even when we were playing off that wide shape from 9, sorry, from Russell at 10, it was still hard running, bang, and we were getting through gain line. So, and the amount of guys that stepped up today, I can see why he's picked the team today. They're all ball carriers. Chesum was out the box, was brilliant. So I'm really positive about it. Yeah, there was loads of mistakes, but the intent was off the scale, much better than it has been.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's something I picked up in my video that I did earlier. Just everything seemed to be narrowed up a little bit. And that means that the passes are shorter. It's a bit easier to be more accurate. And it means it's harder for the defense to read a pass and to see the ball in the air and then make a decision. So it looked a lot more to me like Ireland's attacking shape has been over recent years, rather than these wide passes where the defence can just drift. Some of those intricate plays that were really tight and narrow, Ringrose ended up going through a couple of holes from that, and it looked absolutely brilliant, I thought.
Yeah, he had a brilliant game, Ringrose, I thought. But I do think that's from probably the defensive analysis on the lines up to now. Like the amount of times Ringrose, he's so silky. He was throwing little dummies, and the defense are going wide, and he's just going straight. And the amount of times Aki would look and then come back inside. So I think it's a bit of a rope a dope. I mean, Australia won't get rope a dope. They probably have guessed what we were doing anyway. But certainly from their defensive system, we were able to just cut in and run hard lines. I just thought that was much better, but it has led to massive. Like the ball running was great, but for me it's led to massive questions about the breakdown and ruck, because we were so inaccurate, so poor, gave up so many turnovers. But that's fixable. That's easy. We can fix that. That's just guys knowing their jobs. Now we've got into how we're going to play. I'm feeling, yeah, we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, just one of those breakdown issues were because of the offloads and the person offloading getting tackled, we ended up with one person going into contact. Everybody else in the vicinity was already on the floor. So then if that happens, it's the players who are next in line that need to really just react and go, he's on the floor. There's going to be a problem here. I need to fix it. And they didn't do that quick enough today. That was one of the problems.
Yeah, and I think that's because of the way they've been playing. They've been trying to think, make a break, get the offload, and that's just that you just need to take, like in a test rugby. Hopefully, we'll get a couple of magnificent tries, but you've got to earn it. And I think it's just lines running, timing. You're right. The amount of times, I mean, Sheehan got caught a few times. And then what the scary thing with that is, and you saw Genge was guilty of that early doors, is you then end up trying to clear somebody from the side, dangerous, or you go past, and then we start giving away penalties, and we can't do that. We need to keep the penalty count we were 4 penalties down within the first 2 minutes. Shocking. So we've got to watch that going forward. But I think it will come. It's timing. Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah. And the other thing of the breakdown that I picked up was that the Lions were ending up off their feet really often, I thought, like still in the contest, but off their feet. And that just led to like really messy rucks where they could get counter rucked and pushed out of the way a little bit, lost turnovers there as well. So I think they really need to like really try and fight to stay on their feet in those rucks as best they can.
Yeah, 100%. And I presume the referee today is one of the French referees that will be doing one of the tests, I think. Is that correct? I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
he
know.
is. Or I think he is. I think or at least he'll be part of a threesome there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we were trying to see what we could get away with and just kind of, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if some of it's, I mean, it would be fixed because, I mean, Ireland are so accurate with their Ruxby and Leinster are as well, and there's an awful lot of boys in there, so I think that will come together. Um, but you're right, we did go off our feet, which meant that our nine wasn't protected. He was getting scragged the whole time. That slows the ball down, and there was lots of that going on. It was just messy. Now, in fairness to the Brumbies, I mean, again, the first half of every game so far has been such a battle, and again, they were extremely physical. And what I was really happy with was no injuries bar Kinghorn. Hopefully, that's just maybe a dead leg or a nippy knee or something. We shall see. But sort of we didn't, despite how hard they were coming into us, and vice versa. Our tackle technique was really impressive for me today. We're very low. At no stage did I think, oh, we might get done here for a high one. I think Sheehan maybe when he had the ball maybe had one, but just in terms of our discipline and that side of things in the contact area, that's good. It's the next bit of it that we need to really hone in on. Maybe that's the last bit. Maybe that's the last bit because that comes with intensity, TT. That comes with the intensity that all of these clubs are coming at us with. We won't have that yet. We'll have it for the tests. We will. We'll be up like as if we're playing. Well, we are playing. A test match.
Exactly. And just picking up on what you said there about tackle technique, I thought two players to pick out, Aki and Ringrose, both made some fantastic low tackles. And Ringrose did one where the player just landed straight at Tommy Freeman's feet. And he was just like, oh, I love that. It was such a sweet turnover because the tackle technique was so good. They couldn't do any leg drive whatsoever, and it was a really simple turnover for Freeman, but he did it, executed it perfectly.
Yeah, there's some really. They reminded me of a young prop I used to coach at Esher, Tim Tunnicliffe. Um, yeah, I mean,
Young,
technique was great, and look, and Ringrose as well. You know, talking about discipline, he's been very guilty of flying up and sort of really. He seems, I don't know, he seems okay. Hopefully, that it will stay that way for the test matches. I think they probably that centre partnership is the way we're going to go. Um, Personally, I just think defensively we look better, and attack wise we're just really direct. Depending on how he wants to play. Depending on how he wants to play.
yeah, that's the big question. I think, having seen this performance today, though, I think I agree. I think that's what will suit a proper, high level test match the best, is to have that directness of Aki and Ringrose, to be fair. Like, his running was very direct today as well. And also, obviously, the defensive and physicality that those guys bring. Okay, what about some other good things for the Lions? The scrum, I thought, went really well today. They looked, I mean, it's a big old pack that the Lions picked today, and the scrum in the first half, where they absolutely marmalised the Brumbies, was the high point.
Yeah, they were awesome. I like that from five. I do have reservations on Genge starting, and the only reason I thought he was absolutely awesome today. I really did. But I thought Porter was really poor off the bench. I don't think he's a bench player. I think Genge can come off the bench and add loads. It's a bit harsh maybe, but we have to think of what's best for the team and the squad cover. That would be sort of my only reservation in that front five. But seemed that second row partnership looked good, and they were just really powerful, that five. And look, I don't know how good the Brumbies scrummage is. I mean, I'm presuming they're probably an 80% maybe of what we're going to get up against, but we still dominated them, went after them, got penalties when we needed to in set play for sure. And I thought line out was really good. I loved there was a bit in the second half where we did a line out move with a bit of movement and did a maul off or some kind of movement, something went wrong. And then we kicked to the corner again, and we did exactly the same. We had the confidence to do exactly the same move. I love all that stuff. Now that might be because they're not bothering to do stuff or whatever, but at least the drills are going better than we have seen in previous games.
Yeah, completely agree. Atoji was putting pressure on himself and Sheehan, as he does sometimes, by calling the ball to slightly congested areas. But the payoff for that is better quality ball if they can get it. And he trusted, he really backs himself to do that. So I respect that confidence, but they've got to win it, and they'll definitely be under more pressure when it comes to the tests. Something else, there was some good and some bad in terms of exiting today. They had some really good ones. There was a cracking one from James Lowe when he caught a kick off and banged it basically the entire length of the pitch. And there was a couple of other good ones as well, but there were some bad ones as well. Itoji dropped a couple of kickoffs. And the other examples are escaping me. But the Lions, I think, have really got to tidy that up. Test match rugby, it all gets more condensed. Every single error has more effect and more meaning on the end result. And I think the exits, I think that's when you're talking about easy wins, things that can be fixable. I think the exits is definitely one of them, but they haven't done it yet.
No, they need to sort that out. I think they need to give. Okay, if we sort out the breakdown on the ruck, that gives the park a bit more protection. He's kicking very well again. I feel. And then you've got we haven't really had to use low uh, from like Ireland do from that, but that's probably because we keep butchering our kickoffs. That's definitely literally we haven't had a proper exit because we've butchered. And you're right, there's a few times we still don't look right, and that is a worry. But presumably we can hone that in, because we're going to need to, because they will, because we'll be scoring so many tries. We'll have to. I'm joking, but no, we need to sort out. The other thing for me was the aerial game, and we. I know Kinghorn was carrying for a bit when they put up a couple of high balls. We didn't look great. Marcus didn't look great. I think he might have played himself out. I don't know. He looked as though I feel for him because he's chasing a selection. He's trying to make things happen. He's doing little kicks through when we just talked about actually being direct as the way forward. So yeah, I think aerially we didn't look as strong as I thought attacking wise, like the kickoff, our first kickoff, I was like, okay, here we go. Up the middle, and Kinghorn is going. Leap gets it back. I'm like, yeah, okay. right, and but it goes straight into a Brumbies guy's hand, and they go up the length and nearly score, right? So, but I just thought, yeah, the intent was better, but we need to tidy up uh, because that will give confidence. If I was Joe Schmidt, and well, he's going to do this anyway. He's such a technical coach. He's gonna, they're gonna pepper us. They're gonna absolutely pepper us, and their kick chase is going to be on the money. So we have to sort this stuff out. Presumably, we're doing it in training. I hope to try and sort these things out.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say about Marcus at fullback is that all aerial duels now are a lot closer to 50-50 than they used to be with the shepherding being illegal
Yeah,
now. So
100%. Yeah.
all those contests are a lot closer than they ever used to be. I thought Marcus did okay in the air, but what I did like about the way he played was the way he got involved in the middle third and a couple of really good sort of positional kicks. Just got the ball in front of the Lions, got them moving forward, which is definitely something we've identified as when you get to Test match rugby. Certainly, you'll need that. You'll need to be able to apply pressure, and I thought Marcus picked a couple of good moments to do that.
Mm. Do you mean as a second 10?
Yeah, yeah, he got
Yeah,
it as second receiver a couple of times, I think, and just
yeah,
nailed it down to the right corner.
yeah. Because I don't know about you, right? And people are going to probably go mad. The way we're set up, I'm telling you now, this is made for Owen Farrell. Made for Owen Farrell. Like you can see it. It's like holy shit. The way we're now playing, whether he was at 10, which I think is very unlikely because I think Russell's playing very very well, or he comes on for Bundy in the second half. I think get Kinghorn being injured if that's long term. I think that's going to put a real scope. But it is if he can come through, you can see the way they're playing. If they open up teams, just saying, just saying, it's exciting.
It is. Okay, let's talk about some individual players. You mentioned Ty Furlong there. We identified him beforehand as he needed a big game. I agree with you. I thought he had it today. He's not at his best still, but he's much, much closer to it. And I think that's good enough to get him a test start. Ollie Chesham was another one who probably needed a big performance, and he got it as well. Across the other side of the back row, though, Tom Curry, I thought was busy, industrious, physical. He did a lot of good things, but he also still had a few errors in him, which is, across his career, that is unlike him. He's a very sort of clean player. He typically doesn't give a lot away. So, he spoke in the week about rating himself in terms of his effort, in terms of how quickly he gets up off the floor, how quickly he covers the ground. And I'm sure he'll do that again. But man, he's going to want to get rid of those errors too.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're being super harsh, I think he's played himself out of a place. If Farrell's going to be, but you're right. I mean, Farrell talk about it's the unseen stuff, which is weird because the scene stuff today, where he's trying all these offloads, is what's undone him. Like, what is he doing? Just keep hold of the ball. You don't need to do that. Just run with the ball. That's what he's so good at. If they had it come off, we probably would have scored at least one, certainly in the first half. But they didn't, and it just puts us under pressure. So I feel bad for him. If this is a test team sort of or close to it, then what it does allow you to do is interestingly pick who he picked on the bench in terms of 2 7s or 2 6.5s or whatever you want to call them. Because I thought that was lightning when those two boys came on, Van der Fleer and Pollock. So two very different, but you could feel the energy, and Pollock's unbelievable. But so I don't know, because obviously with Chesham he slots back in. So I really like Curry. I think he's a magnificent player. I think his work rate is through the roof. I think he brings a lot. But if we're being super super harsh, don't forget you got Morgan who's knocking on the door with man of the match performances as well. But he's just picked Farrell into the squad, so it's not all about form.
Definitely not in that case. Okay, yeah, I agree. It's because we're being super harsh because the competition in that shirt in particular is so strong, and there's so many of them. So it'll be so interesting to see what happens selection wise there. Does Farrell just rate his physicality and his sort of test match animal status to come through and do it? He is getting better every game, I think, Tom Curry. So there's every
Yes. Yeah.
chance. Into the backs, and I thought actually, I'm just thinking now across the board, I thought they all played pretty well. Yeah, there was a few errors here and there. Conan made a few errors as well. Number 8, it wasn't his finest game, but he also contributed a lot as well. Yeah, I thought the backs played pretty well.
Yeah, if you can have a look at the game again, and any of the guys watching, have a look at at low. I was player watching him in the first sort of 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It was so funny. There's a bit where he gets the ball, he sprints, he go back and forth. He ends up on the right wing. He gets the ball again. He's on his way back over. Someone chucks him the ball again. He was off his feet. He was knackered. He was absolutely gone. It was like watching a boxer, who's just giving everything he can, lactic acid. And then next thing he finds himself back on the wing, and that's when he got the ball and sort of threw it into touch or whatever it was. I completely messed up or got held up. But he was quality. His work rate was unbelievable. But he got the ball so many times anyway. No, I agree. I think across the board there was some great. I really like Freeman. I think he's just something about him. He's a big, big kid. He's great in the air. Obviously at 9, Gibson Park looked good. I like the way. I like the way Russell was able to pick up. I mean, the Brumbies had a guy flying all the time looking for the intercept. Didn't even come close, not once. He picked them off all the time. So, yeah, I thought in the backs there was some good performances there. We spoke about Ringrose. Aki was great. Conan was quiet in the first. I think that's because a lot of other players stepped up. Again, if you watch the first 10, 20 minutes, there was a lot of guys doing some great. Barnesmith, Genge was doing some great stuff. Sheen was doing some great stuff. So it took a little while for Conan to get in, and it was more in the wide channels where he's hanging out, that he was then getting some opportunity. But physicality wise, he looks he's not afraid of getting stuck in.
Yeah, I mean, what you've just described there about James Lowe's work ethic might be the reason for that not scoring the try in the 23rd minute. I've never seen him be so sort of passive when going towards the try line. It looked like he could just slide in and dive at the guy's ankles and he
Yeah,
would score no problem at all. But yeah, actually, if you'd sort of noticed that he was tired, then that really does explain that a
I think
lot.
he was trying to keep his lunch down. He was in a bad way. And actually, just in terms of pack, I thought McCarthy was uh, exceptional, physical, but he's given away some daft penalties in the last 18 months, and he's got been torn into because of that by press. I thought he was exceptional today. I thought he kept his cool. He was doing some dark art stuff, but he was really good with ball in hand again, and in defence as well. Really coming up and chasing after the halfbacks, and any ball in behind, he seemed to be the guy that was then chasing on and bringing energy to our defence. So fair play to him.
Yeah, he was physical, and I think that was what I would say most about the Lions today. I thought the level of physicality stepped up a notch today. I thought it's not Test match yet, but it stepped up, and it was a lot closer to it. And something that sort of put that in my mind was the line speed. I thought they showed really good line speed at times today. I mean, the Brumbies didn't really have a huge amount of ball in good territorial position, so they didn't get to show it a huge amount. But when the Brumbies did try to play, the Lions caught them behind the gain line quite a few times.
Yeah, they did. They came up. I mean, we got caught out on sort of, I guess, what was it, rolling mauls, close, some really terrific play close to the line, but by the Brumbies. I thought our defence was pretty good there, in terms of sort of scramble on our line. Although we did go away with some penalties, but I suppose you're going to there. But yeah, we got picked off from a sort of in the second half when Ringrose bit, and that's just comms. I mean, there was a lot of stuff been spoke about on Sky Sports with Ronan O'Gara and Bigger. What a match made in heaven, those two. My God. And yeah, they're talking about Freeman probably should have come in, and if one guy's going to go, you go, sort of thing. That's okay. They'll talk about that in the team room and sort of stuff out. But yeah, intent, more physical, and yeah, we didn't get picked off by any stretch. But like, how good are the Brumbies? We don't know yet, and that's the interesting thing. Presumably, again, like what we spoke about in training up until this point, presumably they've been going backline against backline, and that's probably as good as you're going to get, really, if you think about who we have there. So, particularly if someone like Farrell is now going to be owning potentially the team that's preparing the first team or the test team, like he did in the World Cup for England.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just picking up on what you said about Tommy Freeman there, that is the one chink in his game at the moment, staying connected and making the good decisions in defence on the outside. He does get picked off every now and again. It happened against Argentina. It happened again in this game as well. Yeah, like you say, they'll be working on it. They'll have identified it. They'll know the reasons why, and he's just got to just sharpen up a little bit there and do what everybody else does. Essentially, follow what's happening inside.
Yeah, and I guess the problem with that, TT, is a coach like Joe Schmidt. If he sees a soil, he'll pick it, and they'll have moves designed to sucker punch him. So they have to be careful with that. And maybe I don't know whether Matt gets in or not. It's tight in that back three. Again, if King Orn is Keenan will get another opportunity, I suppose. I don't know, but it'd be you've got to be wary of someone like Joe Schmidt.
Yeah, absolutely. He will definitely pick that up. Now, then, what about the bench? I thought the bench overall came on and did a really good job, and probably, I mean, it's the obvious choice, but I thought Pollock, with some of his running lines, that one he hit, I think it was off Gary Ringrose. He went clean through, handed somebody off, rounded somebody, another player, and almost broke the last tackle as well. That would have been another highlight reel try for him if he'd have finished that one off.
Yeah. He keeps stepping up, and he clearly enjoying what he's doing. There was a bit at the end of the game as well where uh, I think the referee was playing advantage, and we turned off. Something happened, and the Brumbies kind of passed out wide left, and then the referee blew his whistle. But you heard the crowd going, "Oh no!" because Pollock had read it and come from nowhere and intercepted and was under the post. But we got the penalty anyway. Yeah, he looks good, doesn't he? He looks good. I mentioned earlier on with him and Van der Fleer coming on, the energy around the breakdown was epic. But he just reads the game well, right? He turns up in places. His kind of follow line, his cheat lines are unbelievable, and then his hard hitting lines are there as well. So yeah, I think he's going to be thereabouts come test time.
Yeah, he hits lines that seem to surprise people, and it's the intelligence of the line running, but then it's his physical gifts of the pace and the angle that he can hit onto the
Yeah,
ball, and then his dynamism within any contact that then sort of ensues from that. He just always seems to wriggle free of that first contact.
he does. He doesn't die, and it's he's not big. Like
He's not.
he's not small either, but he's not like a Vinipola or something like that. But his ability to his balance of run and the power through contact. I don't know, and it's not like he's a surprise anymore. Surely they know this, so you almost have to gang tackle him. But yeah, he's so good. And I think also he twists and turns and he's obviously fast as well, right? He's got serious pace, so he's exciting to watch. And I think he can, in terms of giving energy if it's close and taking energy away and maybe attracting energy from teams who want to beat him up because they're sick of him. That's good as well.
Yeah, it's all good. It is all good. It's
Typical,
such an
typical
interesting.
Englishman.
It's such an interesting one now, though, in terms of selection. Is that going to be enough to get him a test bench spot for the test matches? I don't know. I still don't know. Actually, I'm still very undecided whether I think Farrell will go with that or not. But I think he's definitely got a chance.
Do you, does he start him instead of Curry?
I don't think he starts. I don't think he starts in any circumstances. I think bench at best.
See, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised the way he's playing. I don't know, because why if today was the test team, and again I was listening to some of the Irish podcasts, and they're, I mean, I think it's clear it is. I don't think we can accept that. It just I don't know, like that Scottish centre partnership played so well the other day. I was thinking, wow, but then seeing that today, I I don't think you can drop that Irish partnership. So I don't know, but if we're saying that and he's looking at people, then why on earth wasn't Morgan playing seven? I don't understand why he wouldn't have played seven. I don't get that. So we'll see. I'll be really interesting. When's the team out for? Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow. Yeah.
Wow, oh, it's so good. Oh, this tour is
Yeah.
just so good. Um, so we'll know, and then we'll see what's happening. But I I don't think what would be the bad thing about starting Pollock?
I just think that it's the nuts and bolts. So I think where his game falls down a little bit is in and around the ruck. So he hasn't got the bulk to really dominate those contact situations when it's properly almost static, and you see that quite often in games. And I think early doors in games, you want to have that. You don't want to be losing turnovers. And I just think with all the talent that he's got, I think that will be better utilised. It'll be even more effective later in games when people are tired and it's all going a little bit more off script.
Yeah, but I mean, to play devil's advocate, the breakdown was an absolute shit show today. Anyway, so do you know what I mean? But I agree. I think in you're right. He's going to be more effective in open play when people are tired. There's more opportunity out wide and in at the ruck because people aren't hitting accurately or they're tired, sort of thing. It's great to talk about, though, right? This is why this tour is just magnificent, right? We can have a chat and sort of go, yeah. I mean, there's you could pick so many different, so many kind of different combinations, except for 8.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, mate, we'll bring this one to a close now. People listening, what do you think? Do you think Henry Pollock will start in the first test? Do you think he'll be on the bench, or do you think he won't make the 23 at all? I honestly think they're all possible. They are all possible, I think. So let's have that in the comments down below, and we'll join you there for a friendly conversation. Give this video a thumbs up while you're down there if you don't mind. It helps other people find it, and it just leaves me to say, Elko, thank you so much again for your time today.
Thank you, TT. Enjoy Saturday's game, and I'll see you soon.
Absolutely. And people at home, you can subscribe there. You can watch that one next. And don't forget to get out and play.